What is happening, guys? Gary Jahman here, back at it again with a new video. Hope you're doing well, hope you're safe and happy. So in this video is all about this little guy here, the Fujifilm X100S. And this is a 11-year-old camera, but I just had to have it because there's this whole buzz about the Fujifilm X100 V5, X100 and I just had to have one because the other ones, the newer ones, are not available, or there's a bunch of back order stuff going on. I don't know, the demand is crazy. As always, I'm going to divide my videos in several sections, and the first section will be all about the build quality and design. As you see right off the bat, it really looks quite similar compared to the newer cameras, but the Fujifilm X100S, it still has a great design. It still has that old school retro look that a lot of people like, including myself. I really like how it looks. I actually thought though that this was quite smaller than I expected, but it was actually quite larger than I expected. So I expected to have a very compact camera that actually fits in your normal jeans or normal pants that you're wearing, whatever, or even in your normal jacket. But as you see right here in my hands, even I don't have the biggest hands in the world, it still is quite large, not as pocketable, and put it in that way. I think it's a better word. I think it is not a very lightweight camera. It still has a certain feeling to it. Feels very robust, I must say. Feels, in terms of quality itself, the build quality, it feels really good. In general, it's still in great condition. It has a fixed lens, so you cannot change the lens whatsoever, but it is small and compact to take it everywhere with you. I think the term these days is an EDC camera, an everyday carry camera, that you can just walk with it almost each and every day and capture your life with it in great photos as well. And overall, build quality wise, and the stuff that you get on the camera, as I mentioned, a fixed lens, f2 all the way up to f16. The front element is quite small. You can still adapt lens hoods on it and stuff like that. 23mm on APS-C is roughly, in full frame terms, equivalent 35mm f2. I'm going to show all the features as well on the screen right now so that I don't have to read them all out loud. It is a rangefinder type of camera, and as I mentioned before, it is an old camera, so it's lacking some features, I would say. So what I see that is lacking is a screen that is of high quality, right? So with high quality, I mean the high resolution. It is definitely not a high resolution screen. The viewfinder itself as well is not high resolution. You can also disable it so that you can look through the glass as well. But I have to admit, this is not a nice thing to have. It feels very old school. Back to the screen, by the way, the screen is also not tiltable. You cannot do anything. It is fixed as well, and also it is not a touch screen. So what else do we got on the camera itself, right? So on the left side, we got the focus settings, so manual focus, continuous, and single shot. On the right side, we got the old school adapters, USB mini or micro even. And then at the top, we got the exposure dial and the shutter speed, and that's about it about the dials itself. Or of course, the on and off switch you have as well. In the FN, I have the FN, the function button here at the top. I have set it for the ISO. And the aperture is of course on the front itself, on the lens itself. On the front, we also got a little switch to disable and enable the viewfinder, whether that is electronic or not electronic. At the bottom, we got the battery compartment, and where you also put in the SD cards. The battery is actually pretty good, I have to admit, and I like the battery life as well. For a full day, you can get away with it, but just don't shoot a lot of video with this thing, and then it will drain very fast and very quickly. Also, if you use the flash a lot, which is also, by the way, a really nice thing to have, the flash itself. Bad lighting conditions in general, a flash is a really good thing to have. In this case, a built-in flash. So at the back, we got all the buttons as well, which is okay, feels good, feels robust. And as I mentioned, in general, the build quality of this old camera is still really good. And overall, build quality wise, design wise, I like it. The grip itself is okay-ish. I don't have the largest hands in the world, so for me it's okay, but I can imagine that people with larger hands or even smaller hands will have a little bit of an issue with it. But yeah, then again, this is made by people in Japan. I'm Asian, so maybe, I don't know, it really fits my hand like a glove. In general, build quality, I give it a 10 out of 10 because it still looks good, it still works, there are no quirks, there's no weird stuff going on. It still is really good and really solid. Now, we're going to a different topic here in this video, and that is the image quality. The image quality coming out of this, I was very skeptical because it was an older camera with a fixed lens. So I was really curious to see how the images were looking. And Fujifilm is known for their film simulations and stuff. So I expected not to have the sharpest photos in the world. But here, as you can see, you can actually get some really good shots with this thing. Just keep in mind, 11 years old, guys, and you still have a fixed lens, f2, and as you see, it still looks really good. These are all JPEGs, by the way, straight out of camera. I did use some film simulations. A film simulation is more or less a filter, I would say, but then your own personal filter that you can customize inside of the camera itself. So then it will save time if you put it on, let's say, either on your computer to edit or on your phone to edit. Doesn't really matter, it already looks really good straight out of the camera, which I really like because you don't have to spend time editing the photos. With that being said, as you see, everything looks pretty cool, it looks pretty nice, feels very organic. But then again, also, if you look at the quality itself, it looks really good. But does this carry over into this new modern world? I would say yes, if you're looking for something that is still having that old school look, that feeling, I would say, not too sharp, a little bit on the softer side sometimes, then this is something worth getting. But for me personally, I think these shots are a little bit too soft and the resolution is not as I want, or I'm not used to, I would say I am not used to having this kind of shots. So a little bit on the softer side, maybe I'm just too modern, I would say, or I don't know. It's just not my style of photography. But in general, I would say as well for the black and white photos and the other film simulations, as you see here, it looks really nice, it looks really good. I like it. I like how it feels in terms of the feeling of the photo itself. It has a certain vibe to it. And this is something that is very personal for everybody in terms of photos and how it looks and everything. And for me personally, I like to have my photos really sharp and also almost clinical sharp, I would say. That's the way that I like my photos, and then I edit it in the way that I want. Of course, you can shoot in RAW with this photo as well, but the main purpose of this is to shoot in JPEG to get pictures direct out of the camera itself. But for me, I would say image quality wise, from an objective standpoint, from a almost scientific standpoint, I would say it is still a really nice sharp photo for, I would say, the general public. But as I mentioned, from an old camera, what can you expect? A great image quality, like the best image quality out there? Of course not, but still for a EDC camera, a everyday carry camera, I think this is really good. All right, with that being said, image quality for photos, I'm liking it, 2 thumbs up. But still, for my personal work, it doesn't really fit my personal look, I would say, that I have in my brains, if that makes any sense at all. Right? You got a certain image in your head, you want to have that image from your camera, and this for me, the Fujifilm X100S, maybe with the newer versions, X100V and X106, then maybe it will be more modern looking to me. But for this, at least for me, is not personally not the look that I'm searching for. You can also do video with this little camera, or little between brackets, but the video is definitely something not worth getting this camera for. It doesn't look good at all. Here's a little clip, as you see. It doesn't look good at all. It looks very 2013, 12 like, right? You can do 1080p up to 60 frames per second, 30 frames per second as well, but you're losing the autofocus, you're losing everything. It doesn't make any sense why there is a video option or feature in this. It's also quite buried in the system. You have to select on drive, then you select video, and this is definitely not geared towards videographers at all, but there's at least a ability to do this. With the newer cameras, you have 10-bit and everything like that, 4K. So if you want to do video as well, get the newer cameras. Image quality, I would say I give it, from an objective standpoint, a 8 out of 10. something like that, in that ballpark, because it is still a very old camera, but for that old camera, it still competes with modern day technology cameras, with modern day cameras. The third section of this video is all about some features, and the best feature that it has is of course the film simulations, right? The looks that you get straight out of the camera, that you can also adjust as well inside of the camera. But keep in mind, this is the X100S. It is an older camera that doesn't have all the same film simulations as you have right now. There are a lot of film recipes or like settings that you can check online from Fujifilm itself, and also from a lot of different people that adjust a little bit of the settings, such as the sharpness, the color, stuff like that. So then you get a certain look out of the camera, direct out of the camera, that you may want. It is nice that there are a lot of like special features, and you can customize it to your own liking and everything. But the thing that for me, what I see is that you do have different lighting conditions, so it's hard to get every single shot on the same type of level with film simulations. So you have to adjust that. You can select a different film simulation, and I don't know, for me, having film simulations is great, but I'd rather just shoot in RAW, get the exposure right, and then edit it in post on the computer with the RAW files. But then again, for a lot of people that don't want to do that, just straight out of camera JPEGs, film simulations is nice, but just be aware that maybe the look that you're searching for is not inside of this camera. I think that's very important. I see people shooting with the Fujifilm, they're liking the colors, but it's quite similar to somebody else's work. You know what I mean? So a real own signature sometimes is quite hard to see. Like in some shots you do see, oh, that's a Fujifilm camera. You shot it in a certain film simulation. You know what I mean? For I would say a artist almost, to get a similar result as somebody else, that's not, for me, not the way to go. That's what film simulation is to me. In that case, just shoot in RAW, edit your own photo how you want it, the colors, stuff like that. Put your own little sauce on it, then that's much better than straight out of camera JPEGs. But that's my personal opinion. Of course, if you want to save time, shoot in JPEG, post it online, share it, whatever, you're good to go. No problem with it, that's also fine. The different feature is, this has a built-in ND filter, which is really awesome. You can get some slow shutter photos as well in brighter light conditions, in brighter daylight conditions, stuff like that. You can get some nice slow movements or fast movements that look also really nice with slow shutter pictures. Did that make any sense? I don't know what I just said, but anyways, you know what I mean, right? Slow shutter speed. Somebody's walking in front of something and then you take a photo, it looks like very fast. You can capture the movement in the photo. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. That is a really nice feature to have inside of this camera built in. All right, so in terms of features, I will give it a 8 out of 10. There's no script, guys. I'm just doing this all out of the top of my head. Performance-wise, with performance, I mean the autofocus performance. It is an old camera, guys. It's definitely an old camera in terms of autofocus. As you see here, single point works okay-ish, but it's definitely not the fastest thing in the world. If you shoot in continuous as well, continuous autofocus, even though it has some kind of detection stuff, it is definitely not the fastest. And also it does not have any face tracking or face recognition. So if you want to have great portraits, photos that are sharp in the eyes and stuff like that, you might miss some photos, some shots here with this camera. So just shoot in f4, f5.6 if you do portraits, so that you can have at least the total face in focus. So that's something that I really have to work with it. And there are some people online saying that this is a type of camera that slows you down. You don't have to rush your photos and stuff like that. But for me personally, I just want to have something that captures the moment as fast as possible, because some moments in life only happens once, especially in your daily life. Let's say you have your kids running around or your pets or whatever, and they do something stupid. You want to take a picture out of it, and this might then not be in focus on time. or in time. So that is something you have to keep in mind. Autofocus is not the greatest in the world with the Fujifilm X100S. All right, with that being said, I think I have everything covered. So autofocus wise, definitely I would say 5 out of 10 or something like that. We come now to the end of the video, and that is of course the final topic here is all about the conclusion of this review. And the main question here is, do I recommend this camera, yes or no? There's a yes and no actually for this answer. So the first thing is, do I recommend this camera? And the answer is yes. I would say that is because it has still nice image quality. If you are somebody that is looking for that old school tech, you know, the old school feeling, how things were done, get yourself this camera, you will get some great results as well. The other end, we got the answer no. If you're looking for something with fast autofocus that has some nice features, some modern day features, then don't get this camera, right? Also, the screen is not tiltable. That is something that for me is almost a must-have, I would say. But for me personally, this will not be my everyday carry camera. This will be my once in occasion type of camera, right? So whenever I feel like it, a mood type of camera. I feel like in a certain mood, and I will grab this camera, if that makes any sense at all. But then again, maybe this is not my style of photography of my camera. Maybe the newer ones, the Fujifilm X100V or X100S, one of those might be better for me. I don't know, maybe. We don't know yet. Maybe after the summer somewhere when somebody or some store still have it in stock and the hype is a little bit over, maybe then I will get my hands on the newer ones. Then I'm going to compare it to this one to see how much better it is after all those years. If you got any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. I would like to thank you for watching this video. Subscribe if not already. Like the video. Comment down below whatever you want, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, good luck. Stay safe, stay happy. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.